Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence, and today it's going to be the last Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence for a little while, and this video is basically going to explain why, and it's also going to explain what's going to come in the future. So I started this channel on the 7th of October last year, 2024. Originally it was meant to be sort of a marketing channel for a feature film that I was working on called Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence, which was all about a guy called Johnny Mozer who basically goes to various open mics and he takes them way too seriously. He takes himself way too seriously, and he doesn't have any money, and he doesn't have a house or anything like that. He doesn't have a place to stay, and so his ability to have a roof over his head basically depends on his ability to charm his way into sleeping on people's sofas. He's a couch surfer and he's running out of couches to surf, right? And the idea was he was going to get a gig and he wouldn't have any preparation for it, and he would have to get that gig figured out and prepared. He'd have to get a band together, get a set list together, and then go and play the show, and the show would turn out to be a bit of a wreck. And the idea was it would be a bit of a comedic thing, you know, it'd be a bit Alan Partridge, a little bit The Office, the UK version, and a little bit John Shuttleworth, all of that kind of stuff, which is some of my biggest influences, is that kind of down-to-earth cringe comedy, sort of British comedy, specifically from the 90s and the 2000s. I love all that kind of stuff. I love Peep Show, love The Office, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I was working on it, and at the same time I was making these videos where I just sit somewhere and I talk to the camera. Originally they were just going to be updates about the film, you know, I did this day of filming, and then it would cut to clips of the day of filming. Here's what we did, here's what went wrong, here's what went right, and the idea was it was going to be an in-depth look at the creation of a film, you know, in the process. You know, the whole thing was going to be a project of it, you know, the film coming to fruition, and eventually the film would come out, and I guess I didn't know what I'd do with the channel after that. Well, I didn't actually anticipate the channel getting, you know, 100 subscribers, let alone nearly 70,000. I didn't anticipate, you know, that I would make a difference in this world in any way, you know, with what I do, because all I do is I just go to some random log in the middle of nowhere and just talk into a camera, you know. I mean, I don't particularly think I have anything worth saying, but obviously the audience disagrees with that. So, you know, it started off, you know, I made a couple off-topic kind of videos just because I had the camera and I was in the locations anyway, so I thought I might as well do something while I'm waiting for things to happen. So I would just make these videos. The first one I did that wasn't about the film was about Central London, because I was in Central London at the time, meeting with actors and you know, crew. I was doing the recruitment sort of phase of you know, getting the band together, as it were, almost a sort of a mirror of what's actually going on in the film, what was meant to go on in the film. And throughout October, November, December, I released 2 videos every single day in this kind of format. I also did like guitar videos where I play some guitar over a backing track, worked on albums, did all sorts of stuff, you know. And then it got to January, and I was starting to get a little bit burnt out by this point. And so I've decided to scale it back, and I went down to 1 video a day. Around this point my laptop broke, so I was kind of in a bit of a pickle. And then after that, a few people were getting inspired by what I was doing, and they were doing very similar things, and they were doing them every other day. So I thought, you know, they're getting by with doing it every other day. Why don't I scale it back even further and do 1 video every 2 days? And the more I scaled it back, the more it didn't feel like it was a weight off my shoulders. It just sort of felt like I was making myself less capable. It made it feel like I was less able to conquer the world, right? And so February this 2025, I only did 1 video every 2 days. That led into March, where it was the same, and then April, where it was the same, and then May, where it was the same, and then June, where it was the same, and July, where it was the same. And along this sort of same point, I was working on a film called A Sheffield Psychedelic. I was trying to get the edit together, and it was a whole kerfuffle. I've made a 2.5-hour documentary about the making of that film, which uses this kind of style, but in more of a cinematic, you know, proper edited context. And I'm pretty happy with that documentary how it came out. And that came out at the same time as the film, which both came out in late August. around that time I also went back to doing 2 videos a day, and the idea was, because I tried scaling it back and that didn't work, I figured, how about I go full throttle? And I did that until about October, and that didn't work either, so I went back to 1 video every 2 days. And since that point, this channel has kind of been in on live support a little bit. It's been relying on videos that I filmed way in advance, just scheduling them out and not making nearly as many videos as I should be. I felt like I was running out of topics. I felt like I was running out of new angles to tackle topics from. I felt like I was putting too much of myself on the line, you know, online, literally, you know. And as time went on, it just sort of felt like, I don't know. I mean, the money also started to go downhill. When I was at the peak, you know, in December and January of this year and last year, I was making, like, you know, enough to live on, you know, to do this as a full-time job. And so I did. I treated it as a full-time job. But the money started to go down, you know, and now I earn barely like 1/20th of what I was earning at that point. And it's not enough to live on. So I've been trying to do, you know, full-time work and, you know, client work, because I do video stuff and photography stuff for clients, and working with friends on their projects and trying to work on music. And I also tried to start an email band at the same time, and everything started to feel like it was falling apart. I had my hand in way too many pies. I was stretching myself way too far, I was exerting myself way too far, and at some point, I don't think something snapped or anything like that, and it was just like, I can't do it anymore. It was a slow burn, a slow process. The more you complete one thing, and it's a relief, because and I think the reason it's a relief to complete something like that, like finishing a Sheffield Psychedelic and getting that out, that was a weight off my shoulders, because it was something that I had to get done on top of everything else that I was doing. And then after that, it's not like the energy that I was putting into a Sheffield Psychedelic was replaced with anything. It was replaced with, I don't want to call it laziness, because I don't think that's what it is. But laziness feels like a good descriptor for it. I just started doing less and less and less, until it got to the point where even just going out and filming these videos became a chore. It became a burden, something that I couldn't really bring myself to do. So I didn't film videos for quite a while. And as you can see, I'm not nearly as good with my words as I used to be, because I've not been doing it regularly. I've filmed about 3 videos in the last 2 months, and 2 of them, a big part of that was, you know, of the message of the video was that I hadn't done videos in such a long time, and how do you get back into the groove of things. And I've been trying to do videos about getting back into the groove for a while now. And I've realised that I can't keep this up. I can't keep doing this in the current way that it's working. It's unsustainable, right? I'm looking at channels that are similar to my size, right? And they seem to have like 2 or 3, 4 people working on them. I'm just me, right? And this isn't the main thing that I do. There's so many other things that I do as well. I work a full-time job and I do this, you know, and there's all the other things that I do that are not really part of a, you know, public life in any way, you know, like personal things, you know, that you get done, seeing friends and sorting stuff out with the bank or whatever, you know. And I don't know, at a certain point, I feel like I have to draw a line under it and just say, this is it for now. So this video is me saying goodbye for now. I don't really want to make this video. I was walking over here, and it felt like I was on a death march, like I was walking up to the noose, you know, like this was it for me. And I've been feeling like that for a little while, in terms of, like, for instance, I'll look at old people on the bus and I'll think, God, I'm going to be like that soon. They're going to die in 10 years at most, you know. At some point they're going to be dead. Oh, that person, you know. I look at Buzz Aldrin, you know, he's 95 years old. I didn't realise he was still alive, actually. But, you know, he landed on the moon in 1969 and he's still going. But, you know, the oldest man that ever lived to 116. So realistically, he's got 21 years left at most. But realistically, he's probably not going to live for another 21 years. You know, Dick Van Dyke just turned 100. Kirk Douglas was 104 when he died, you know. And, you know, I'm 26 years old, which means that Kirk Douglas would have been 78 when I was born, right? So he's been an old man, he was an old man my entire life, right? And I don't know, I just kept looking at all of this and sort of getting this weird existential crisis that at some point I am going to die. And that at some point, this, by the way, this isn't like, you know, I'm not going to do anything like that. My point is that I need to draw a line on the sand I need to do something new, because to me, this isn't novel. This isn't fun for me as much in the way that it used to be. What's fun now is seeing the comments from all the people that take something from these videos, that, you know, have healed in some way because of these videos. I've done so many videos about so many topics, some of which are quite deep and personal to me. You know, like I struggled with alcohol addiction for quite a while, and I'm about 1.5 years sober now. And I made a video about it about a year ago. And I've had emails and comments, people telling me that, you know, that video was like the thing that got them to quit. And, you know, that meant a lot to me, you know, that I was making a difference and improving people's lives. You know, people have said like I did a video about veganism, and apparently I've got a load of people to convert to veganism. So I'm pretty happy with the changes that I've made in the world. And then I released my Sheffield Psychedelic film, and I got an email from someone saying that they had rekindled an old relationship, not a romantic one, a platonic one, because of my film. And I just, at a certain point, it stopped feeling like I was doing it for me. I wasn't making these videos for me anymore because I enjoyed them. I was doing it because I felt like I owed it to some potential person who might be going through a hard time. And it almost felt like I was sacrificing my own mental well-being to put this on the line, you know, and to say all of these things and to make these videos, you know. Because I've gotten emails from people saying that these videos saved their lives. And a couple of them have been quite explicit in saying that they were going to, you know, walk to the noose, as it were. Well, that's not as it were, that's just full on fucking saying you're going to kill yourself, isn't it? I was trying to be advertiser friendly, but fuck it, I don't care. You know, and I got those emails. I've had those emails now for over a year, like, and been getting similar ones. And it felt like I had to keep making these videos to save more people's lives. And that's no way to live. That's no way to create. That's no reason to create. Why did you create this? So that someone didn't kill themselves. And, you know, there was this immense feeling of guilt. You know, if I didn't, you know, release the best video possible, if I didn't keep going and didn't force myself through whatever this is, that what if someone, you know, killed themselves when they could have watched one of my videos and then not, you know? And that sounds so, you know, egotistical for me to say, but realistically, it's true. It's something that, you know, I've been dealing with for quite a while, and I've not been really entirely sure how to deal with it, you know. And I think I need a bit of a change in style, in scenery, and in topic. So this is my last video for now, right? I'm going to do some live streams and stuff, just casual things, just because I've got Patreons and I've got members, and, you know, I don't really want to like make them feel like they're paying for nothing. So I'm going to do some live streams and stuff, maybe members only live streams, or maybe just public live streams, because I don't have enough members to sustain that. But I make, like, you know, 30 quid on Patreon and YouTube members. So that's about 60 quid a month, which is, you know, that pays, you know, a few of the little bills, you know, like, you know, phone bill and you know, pays for Netflix and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I've been trying to avoid making this video for a while, because and I've been trying to delude myself into thinking that I'll get back into the groove that I was in this time last year, that I would be able to just keep this going ad infinitum, but I can't keep doing this. And it almost feels like, because a lot of the friends that I have now, I've made since starting the channel, and it feels like this has become a core part of my identity. People start calling me Johnny now, rather than my actual name, which is Josh. You are, right? But, I mean, a lot of people just say Josh, but, you know, it's sort of become tied to part of my identity, and it's like, I didn't want to give it up for that. And it's all, none of these are reasons to keep making something that deep down you know you can't carry on, right? I feel like the content has been suffering for a while now, since probably about October, maybe September. It feels like the content has been suffering, and I've not been making stuff nearly as good as I used to make it. And I feel like maybe a break, maybe, you know, but not a break with, you know, I'm going to be back at this date to carry on as before. It's going to be, whatever I do next on this channel will be something different. I might still make these kind of videos if I ever feel like it, if there's something I really want to say, but I'm not sticking to any schedule anymore. I'm not sticking to any, like, every 2 days or every day or every other day. Nothing like that. From 2026, from the 1st of January 2026, that's it. You're not going to see any new videos for the foreseeable future until hopefully in the summer I have some new projects lined up. I mean, my big passion is music. You know, I mean, the film that I was doing, Johnny Moz Lessons in Confidence, was all about music, and I love making music. I love music, and I want to make it, and I want to branch out, and I want to meet people and start a band, and I want to do all of this sort of stuff. But you know, I've been trying to live off doing these videos and, you know, working a full-time job, and if I can't, you know, sustain all of that, I can't do the things that I really want to do. I can't go out there and pursue creative endeavors that I really want to if I carry on doing this, which is sad because at one point this was my creative endeavor, but now it sort of feels like going to work. And you know, it's sad because I know what's going to happen is after I release this video I'm going to regret it and I'm going to want to carry on making more videos. In fact, there's been a few videos that have come out on this channel, you know, I think over the past sort of 6 months, which were going to be the final one, you know, because I wanted to go out on some kind of big magnum opus. You know, I wanted to go out on something that was worthwhile. I wanted to, you know, give a good closing note, a good closing message, but I don't have one. And I feel like the only thing I can do is just take a step back and you know, try something new, do something new, go in a new direction, because this isn't new to me anymore. And I desire newness. I desire, you know, something that is fresh. And to me, this isn't fresh anymore. So what I'm going to do is, none of these videos are ever going to go anywhere. So don't worry about it. If you want to archive them, then archive them. Just, you know, just in case I go back on my word. But I don't plan on going back on my word. So, you know, maybe archive them anyway. But maybe if I disappear for a little bit, maybe the old videos will get, you know, a bit more appreciation, because it feels like I make a new video and it like erases the old stuff. I barely ever get any engagement with videos that I made like 7 months ago, for instance, or a year ago. You know, and whenever I do get the odd comment on some random video that I made in like February, it really means a lot to me, because, you know, I feel like I was building a catalogue, but now it feels like I'm just sprinting on a treadmill, and I've been sprinting for quite a long time. And whenever I try and jog, I immediately try and sprint again. And then if I try and jog for too long, it feels like I can't sprint anymore. So I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to focus on some other things. I'm going to focus on my actual professional career, because look, I want to progress in my life. You know, I'm working on getting my driver's license. I want to get some new career opportunities. I kind of want to switch careers. I want to stay doing creative stuff, but before I was trying to make this the thing that I do as my actual career. Not this specifically, but video, client work and photography work and stuff like that. And I feel like, you know, I'm 26 now, and I've been trying to chisel away at this, you know, behemoth of a stone for, you know, my entire adult life, and I've been getting nowhere with it. And realistically, you know, I'm seeing my peers, you know, progressing in their careers, and I'm staying stuck here. But everyone seems to think that I'm doing so much better than I am because I've got a YouTube channel with 70,000 subscribers or whatever, which, you know, I don't feel like I really deserve. I just sort of did this. I mean, anyone can do this. It's not hard, but I suppose maybe it is because I'm struggling to do it now. So, but then maybe that speaks more about me than it does about the content. I don't know, but I did a video here about a year ago. It's a video that no one's really seen. It was called Trying to See the Beauty in the World. And I think the shot in that video, it was the exact same spot. I was sat a bit more over there, but and I think I filmed it with a 50mm lens rather than this, which is a 28mm lens. It's the same camera, but I think you can tell in the shot composition that something's changed. You know, I think the fact that this shot just doesn't look as good. I feel like it's reflective of my state. I feel tired. You know, I just set the tripod up and just sort of did it. You know, back then I didn't even have a tripod. You know, I had a tripod, but it was broken. I managed to get it repaired, and you know, nothing seemed to fix whatever the core issue is. So I'm going to take a completely different direction, and I don't immediately want to. I want to keep doing this, but I can't. I just can't keep doing it for now. And I want to come back fresh, motivated, to make new things, to take this content in a new direction. I've had so many ideas, and I've mentioned all of these ideas, and I want to do them, but I want to stop dreaming, and I want to start doing. And I feel like this channel and this style of video is just an excuse for me to keep dreaming, because I can sit here in these sort of dreamlike sort of shots in these dreamlike kind of areas and just talk. And that's all I'm doing, is I'm just talking. And I want to stop talking. I want to start doing. I want to start moving somewhere in my career and my life, because eventually I want to have kids, and raise them well to go off and do things that they want to do. And I'll never do that if I keep chiseling away at this. So this is it for now. And I don't know, a little bit of it feels sad, because it's almost like I'm going to return to being part of me feels like I'm going to return to being a normal person. Like someone who doesn't have a YouTube channel, someone who doesn't get recognised in the street, someone who doesn't have random people turn up to them when they're waiting for a train and say, hey, you really appreciate me. Someone who doesn't have someone come up to them and say, hey, I've got access to Abbey Road, do you want to come and do some recording? And then we go to Abbey Road and act like rock stars, smoking cigarettes out the back, in front of full view of all the tourists taking pictures of us. It's been such a strange life, such a strange year. And I need to change things up, because I want to keep that momentum going, and it's not continuing. It's almost like the car is out of petrol, and it needs an MOT, and it needs an oil change, and I think the gear stick's a bit wonky. It's getting a bit stiff or a bit loose or whatever it is. I need to figure out what's wrong with it, and then sort the problem out. I need to diagnose the issue and then fix the issue. But it's also sad, because I feel like I'm letting down some of my regular fans. Some of the people who tune in to basically every video, like Jesse Java, Josh Sparks, and so many others that have come and gone through the year. And it's sad, because I want to keep this up, and I just feel like I can't. And now I feel like I'm starting to repeat myself. But yeah, I'm gonna start working on my career. And that's, I suppose, it. Bear in mind that you don't need to unsubscribe from the channel, because new things are going to come, new things are going to happen eventually, possibly in the summer, but no promises. Whatever it is, it'll be something new. And the Johnny Moses Lessons in Confidence film, I can't do it. I fought so hard to get Sheffield Psychedelic, my last film, done, and I sacrificed so much, to get it done. Everything. I went into debt, gave up on my marriage, my mental health took a massive toll. I became an alcoholic because of that film. Well, I already was one, but I became more of one. Everything went horrendously wrong, and I was at complete rock bottom. And just to get that film done was such a monumental task, and I can't do it again. Not now. Possibly not ever. It's sad, because I don't know, maybe it's not that sad, because maybe the Johnny Moses Lessons in Confidence wasn't really that good. Maybe this was all just a manic episode, this whole thing. I don't know. But whatever it is now, is what it is. And this is my catalogue of work. The past 600 videos up to now. This is my catalogue of work, and I'm immensely proud of it. I'm immensely proud of everything that I've done this year and last year. I'm immensely proud of every single video that I've done, even the ones that I say, it's a bit shiteless. I'm immensely proud of all of them. And I'd like it to be a catalogue of work, with different mini-series in between. Some of them about mental health, some of them about making music, some of them about film, some of them about general motivation, some of them are about politics, some of them about weird life situations, some of them about taking some anecdote that I have and trying to get a lesson out of it, And I don't know. I want to move forward in my life, and I feel like I'm being held back now. And part of me feels like I should have made this video, about 7-8 months ago, but I'm making it now. If I don't make it now, I'll never make it. I'll keep pushing it back and pushing it back, and I'll keep struggling in fumes. And the fumes will somehow never run out. But I don't want to run on fumes anymore. I want to be, roaring, ready to go, ready to tackle the world and conquer the world and make something of myself. And this is what it is. This is what I've done. This is what I've made. And I'm really, very proud of it. And for now, this is Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. This series of videos of me talking in the woods, or in the park, or on the side of the road, or indoors, you know, whatever, wherever. I've met some really, really wonderful people. I've met, you know, a couple, you know, similar YouTubers of similar size. I've met a couple that are much bigger than me. I've met loads that are a little bit smaller than me, and I've networked and I've done so much. And I feel like I keep networking, but never seizing opportunities, because this is holding me back. You know. So this is it for now. So yeah. Also, I feel like if I keep this up, I'm eventually going to say something that I deeply regret. And I probably already have. You know, I've probably said something that could, I don't know, go down the wrong way. I mean, I feel like I'm not worried about, you know, getting cancelled or anything like that, because I don't really believe in all of that. I just sort of think that, you know, this is when it has to end for now. This is, you know, maybe a season break. You know, this is season 1. Maybe season 2 will come around. I hope so. But that's it for me. Thank you very much. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And yeah, take care, everybody. Bye bye. No, I should get up, go to the camera, turn the camera off, go home, edit this together and upload it now, but I don't want to leave the frame.